What's up? I'm Drew. You may not know me, but you should know my next guest. He's a restaurateur, author, philanthropist, travel guide. Actually, he's probably most proud of being a music lover, overall Renaissance man, and Hattiesburg hype man, Robert St. John. I've worked with Robert for a little while now. We've talked a lot about videos for the restaurants. I mean, that's what we do for work, but he's really become a friend. His whole family is great, and I think it's interesting that most of the conversations we have are about family. He's always checking on me. How you doing? How's everybody doing? And it makes sense. I think a lot of people think you get into the restaurant business because you're a foodie or you like cooking, you like eating, whatever, and that's certainly part of it, but it's really more about hospitality. So you see him checking on tables in the restaurant, that's how that guy really is. He's like tailor-made for it. Just a stand-up guy, and seriously, the busiest human I've ever met. I don't know how he does it. So stay tuned. We're gonna have Robert St. John on episode 3 of Drivin with Drew.
My old neighborhood. This was all woods.
Really?
When I was a kid, yeah. So we moved in our house in like 1968. It's only about 4 blocks that way. But this was woods all the way to the interstate.
So when you did Crescent City Grill, that was out west, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. West of the interstate was, I guess that was 87. So you had the hospital and the Coca-Cola plant, and then it was 2-lane houses all the way to Columbia.
That's crazy.
No, I remember all these houses being built. I rode my bike all through here.
All right, so we're in Midtown Hattiesburg. These are your stomping grounds.
This is it.
Planted your flag, as we say.
That's true.
What's something about Midtown Hattiesburg that people don't know? Past, present, or future?
You know, I'll tell you what, when Tim's school was built up here, which is my elementary school, all of this was a field. I mean, you got trees and everything now. This was a field. And I think Tim's was built maybe 63, somewhere in there. We moved in our house over that way about 68. Yeah, go by my house. We'll go do this way. Take a left up here on Mandalay. So Tim's, the front of the school looked all the way to Lincoln Road that way. All these were new houses at the time, but it was a field. And I've heard from people who were in school back then, you see how the windows are looking this way? When they tested the nuclear bomb at the Tatum Salt Dome in Purvis, they said you could see a wave, the shock wave, going across the grass and like ripples.
They tested a nuclear bomb there?
Yeah.
What?
The Tatum Salt Dome.
Oh my gosh.
There's a whole salt dome underground this side of Purvis. Yeah, there was a nuclear test there in the early mid-60s.
And they could see it ripple like like water.
Yeah.
That's weird.
They could feel it.
Wow.
Right here at this intersection, you know, I lived this way. In the 6th grade, you got to be a crossing guard. And man, it was like my dream for 2nd through 5th. Rode my bike to school here every day. My buddy Chris Bowen lived on that. I could name all these houses. I'm not going to do that. But there was a crossing guard there, man. And I was like, all right, when I'm in the 6th grade, that's it. That was my goal. I'm going to be a crossing guard. And then my mom switched schools on me, and I never made it.
Oh, man.
Never made crossing guard. One of my life's great disappointments. That
was me from PCS. They built that football stadium a year after I graduated. I was like, bro, what?
This is my street that I grew up on, Bellwood Drive. The cool thing about this neighborhood, now, this is my old house right there.
Yeah, I know who lives there, by the way.
Number 8.
What's funny is you say that. I was in Green Coffee the other day. I'm not going to name who it was. They said they lived there. They go, there's still writings on the wall that the heights of Holloman and they're leaving it.
For me and my brother.
Yeah.
I'd love to get that strip. But the cool thing about this, so all of these houses, these were just lots. My dad and all his, like, the guys he grew up with, every one of these houses were men my dad grew up with. They all bought lots together.
Oh, that's cool.
When it came time for all them to build houses and stuff, it were all these contemporaries that had grown up together within a couple of years of each other. My situation, though, my dad died while they were planning the house. One of the great things my mom did in 1968 is she scaled down the house a little bit so she could afford it, and then she moved here anyway, which was probably a little scary for her financially.
Yeah.
But it was the neighborhood I grew up in. So all these guys they're all male role models for me. I used to watch, I can tell you, so I first heard Led Zeppelin 3. You see that room on the top left?
Yeah.
That's where I first heard the album Led Zeppelin 3. I used to go and watch Dark Shadows with their maid in the afternoon because my mom wouldn't let me watch that show.
Oh my gosh.
Like every house. It would bore you to tears what I could tell you about this neighborhood.
No, I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people hear you talk about the restaurants and how much you love Hattiesburg, and then it's like...
We used to play poker there.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in high school.
But the reason you love Hattiesburg is because this part of Midtown, this is your childhood.
This is my roots. I have such fond memories. I write a lot about growing up here and you know, the influences this had on my life. I gotta be careful here, they don't hear us coming in this EV.
It goes wah wah. It's Bradley Myers. It's a bunch of drummers.
Bro, what is this?
It's a Chevy Blazer EV.
This is beautiful.
Right, you hear it? It sounds like music. He goes, man, we gotta be careful. Bradley's over there. Yeah, you can hear, it's crazy, huh?
Sporty.
I'll holler at you later. All right, man, see ya.
Kubicki Mobile.
The Kubicki. Mark will love that.
Mary Virginia McKenzie, who made the orange sweet rolls, lived there. There was a barn right there. They had horses. Probably why I hate horses still today. I was on a Shetland pony when I was 6 years old. And anytime anybody in the barn clinks a bucket or something when you're riding a horse, it's like dinner time, man. And that horse took off and it stopped short of the fence and I kept going.
That's crazy. There was horses there, because now that's just the other side of 40th Ave.
Yeah. It was a great place to grow up. I grew up without a dad, really, but I had a dozen of them.
Yeah.
Because of the neighborhood I grew up in. Yeah. So it takes a village, man. I'm a product of this village.
That's awesome. Why do you think Hattiesburg is different?
Hattiesburg's different because we're kind of a gumbo. So the proximity, you know, we're just close enough to New Orleans and Louisiana. Yeah. So that vibe creeps in. Yeah. We're an hour north of the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf Coast and that whole coast vibe. So you get a little of that. There's a university here. All of these kids who grew up in the homes of professors like yourself, who came from all over. You know, I think that's why it's different. It was kind of a gumbo of people and of culture and of ideologies and sentimentality and all of that. So it's different than I think most small southern towns or cities.
What, you like the ride so far?
Oh, it's cool. I remember the first time I had any exposure to any kind of EV, and I was kind of negative on these things at first. I said, no. And the one thing is I asked the guy, I said, my son said it'll go 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. I said, it won't really do that. And we were riding and he hit the gas. Man, I was pulling G's in this thing. There's no delay. And, you know, when you hit that thing, it's instant.
Instant
Have
torque.
you done that yet?
Instant torque. Yeah. Well, Kubicki goes, we were going to just drive on the streets, the short roads. He goes, take it on the interstate. And we went, whoosh. I mean, we were moving. I'm not going to say on camera how fast we were going, but it wasn't the suggested speed. It's insane. Well, what's cool is it's quiet, it's smooth.
Yeah.
The reason you can actually get in trouble is you put the pedal on the floor, you're used to hearing it, the engine response.
Yeah, that's right.
It's weird because you're like in a spaceship. You just move all.
Does it show you like the traffic lights coming up and all that kind of thing?
Well, you can in Google Maps on this really beautiful display. What's cool is right here, if I press the gas, it goes into orange. That's telling me how many kilowatts I pulled.
Right.
And as soon as I get off, not even braking, you can see it goes into the green. That means it's actually recharging. It's a regenerative battery.
And this is a Blazer?
Chevy Blazer 2024, the RS edition, Rally Sport.
Yeah, got the red. And Simeon Williford, who you know, comes to my office. She said, I want you to talk to a guy. And I said, what am I meeting with him about? She said, about electric chargers at the restaurant. And I said, no, I don't want to get into that. I don't think so. I don't want to do that. She said, no, you need to do it. And I said, you know, I don't know about all that. I don't think we need that. I'll meet with the guy, but we aren't putting any electric chargers at this restaurant or whatever. But I'll give him 15 minutes and then you just come in and let me have a phone call or something. So the guy shows up, hour and a half later, I'm still meeting with the guy. I was totally fascinated with it. I had the wrong impression on electric vehicles. And so he said, you want to go for a ride in mine? And I said, sure. You know, I guess so. I wasn't planning on it at the first of that meeting. I was like, I didn't even want to meet with him. And by about 30 minutes in, I was like, I know I'm putting chargers behind this restaurant.
What's smart being right on 59 if you're coming up from New Orleans or down from Meridian.
So you grew up in this neighborhood.
So I'm about to show you. This is Johnson Avenue, 811 Johnson Avenue. Wow. Yeah, we're over here on the left. Third one from Arcadia.
that one right there.
This one right here. Yeah, they converted that garage into a living room.
Nice.
And then it was the little supply closet. It was my dad's office. He was always on the computer working.
Nice.
Yeah, and he wrote books from there and stuff in that room. He had a little swing set back there. Sure has changed a lot. What's funny is Miss Simmons lived right here. I used to clean her pool.
Russ lived somewhere around here. Do you know the Russ? 1979, that's probably before you were born. He had a landscape business, and we worked out of his backyard right across from your house.
Wow.
Cool.
That's crazy. That dentist's office back there, that parking lot's where I learned to skateboard very poorly. Midtown is very much feels like home. That's where I grew up. That's where you did everything. You weren't here, but I said in the intro, we work together, but I consider us more friends than anything. But he's really become a friend.
100%.
We probably talk about family stuff more than anything.
Yeah, I think so.
People probably associate us with the videos for the restaurant, but it's like, no, I tend to hear more about like, hey, how's Shay doing? How's like you said, you in the house yet? So I just got married. What's your advice for a newly married man with his own business?
This is not good advice, but my friend gave me this advice. He said, once you do something once, it's your job forever. If you're going to be the one that gets the mail from that point on for the next 40 years, you're the one getting the mail. So just think about what you want to be doing for the next 40 years, man. Yeah, that's probably terrible first marital advice.
I mean, let's play off that. What do you do now that you did in the beginning that you're happy with? Like I always tell people, the lunch with Jill if you're in town.
Yeah.
Y'all eat together. I love that.
Yeah, every day we have lunch together. Breakfast, she's not a breakfast person, and I get up really early. She gets up early too, but she just has coffee, so I'm sitting right there at table 19 every morning. Yeah, sharing a meal is this thing that I think as Americans in this kind of lifestyle most of us lead nowadays, we've gotten away from sharing a meal, sitting down and sharing a meal. And that's one thing I wanted to do when she was pregnant with our daughter, first child. I was like, we're going to sit down and have dinner. And it's not easy, man, because you got soccer and cheerleading and football practice, and you get all those things, you're running around. And today, people drive through a window and grab a sack of food, and they call that supper. And that's not supper, man. Supper, you sit down and enjoy food together.
We're going to drive through this window.
Oh, nice.
How are y'all?
How's it going? How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Can I order a coffee, please? Can I just do a cold brew? You don't drink coffee.
Huh?
What do you get at a coffee place drive-through since you don't drink coffee?
I would get some orange juice in there.
Oh, yeah, freshly squeezed orange juice.
Absolutely, 12 or 16 ounce.
12.
12 ounce.
And 16 or 20 for that cold brew.
16, trying to cut back on caffeine.
Gotcha.
Dude, your camera shot's better than my camera shot.
Turn it all?
No, just jet fuel.
All right.
Thank you.
Get that out for you.
Appreciate it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's rigged, obviously. My camera shot's better than yours.
You got the better camera. You got like that Elizabeth Taylor filter on your.
Oh yeah, I'll do that in post. You want the?
I need all the help I can get, man.
You want the fragrance ad
gauze.
thing?
Put some gauze in front of it.
I think people get in the restaurant business, they think, oh, I'm a foodie. I love eating, and I want to be in the restaurant business. Like, no, it's hospitality. Like you talk about the core values, and then I think I don't think you have to value family, but I think that probably plays into it, because what is family? Being together, caring about how the other person's doing, and stepping outside of your own ego to be like, hey, how does this person feel?
Yeah. So too many people, I think today, drive through a drive-through window, grab a paper sack, take it home, put it on a TV tray in front of the TV and call that supper. And that's not supper. When I was a kid, moms came to the back door and yelled out supper, and everybody ran inside, sat down. And today, mom calls for supper and people hop in the minivan, and head to do. And I'm in the restaurant business, so that's, maybe good for the restaurant business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're hopping one of
Thanks,
those
man.
back
You
in
too.
there,
I need to make sure I'm going to spill this in the Kabiki mobile. Oh, it's good.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. More people need to eat together, right?
Oh, 100%.
That part of your philosophy
The
is
spouse, with the kids. It's not, you need to share a meal with the mom, a dad, 2.5 kids, and a dog. Not that too. It's just sharing a meal with, everybody isn't mom, dad, 2.5 kids, and a dog. I'm not anymore. It's just sharing a meal with your neighbor, sharing a meal with your grandmother, sharing a meal with your neighbor's grandmother. You know, it's a thing we've just gotten away from. There's a study now that we're here on USM campus. I can't cite it, and I wish I could. I'll find it for you. The only predictor of high ACT, SAT scores across all
demographics,
all incomes, all races, all everything. The predictor for the highest score that's universal are families that ate together.
Wow.
That's a true stat. So you spent your time in that building? Is
That
right?
music building, the basement.
Is your dad still in that
He's
building?
still in there, same office. I'm now older than he was when he got that job. That was a big deal given.
What year did he get this?
93. No, 92.
That's
92.
like new to me. That seems like old to you. If I hear a song from 1993, I'm like, that's new music right there.
Well, it hurts your feelings because you realize classic rock is technically rock that's 20 years old. So you're like, oh, what? Nirvana's classic rock. That's weird.
Nirvana's 30 years old now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, he got that job. That was a big deal, him getting that job. And
Go left. There's a great climbing tree there. Go ahead.
so yeah, no, it was a big deal. I remember us moving to Mississippi, and my mom did not want to be here. She's from Rockford and outside Chicago.
Look at that tree. See that tree over there?
Yeah.
It's like the best climbing tree in town. When I was a kid, I climbed that tree, and then when my kids were young, we'd come up and ride our bikes. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, that's okay.
So you moved here from where?
Iowa.
The University of Iowa?
Yeah, go Hawks. What's funny is we have the same logo as Southern Miss. We had the.
Yo, that's right.
Sued them for the logo thing. It's like he's going. He's like, is this logo following me? It's like no.
That's where Jimmy Buffett met Fingers Taylor right there.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it was funny. She did not up north. You don't say Mr. Robert, Miss Jill.
Right.
You say Robert Jill.
Yeah.
And her friend Barb would be like, quit calling me Miss Barb. It makes me feel weird. I'm going, I'm sorry. I physically can't do that. And so it was funny. She would go, at school I got in trouble because I didn't say no ma'am. I said no. And then she goes, this is unbelievable. I cannot. She was so upset. And then, like, seriously, a month later in the house, she asked me a question. I said, no. And she goes, no, ma'am. She was a very early adopter to the ma'am and sir and just the manners of the Southern culture.
From Illinois. Your dad was from Lafayette, right?
Yeah. Actually, his brother lives down the street from the Steens family, the cane syrup.
Man.
He was like, he saw that video we posted. He goes, did you tell him Uncle Paul lives down the street from the Steens? I said, I didn't know. That's awesome. That's
Steens
so cool.
is the best, man. That stuff's good.
The university, I asked you what you think makes Hattiesburg different, and it wouldn't be what it is without the university.
Yeah.
Not just athletics. I know that's a big deal, getting behind the To the Top collective and the NIL stuff, but I mean everything: arts, culture, the music here, the theater department here is insane.
When I lived 3 blocks that way, my first major book deal with a New York publisher, and I was up on the Upper West Side in Manhattan, and I go in, so Bennett Auditorium's right there. Mm-hmm. The marketing guy for the book probably had a bias against the South, didn't want to talk, so he came in. We're having a meeting about how to promote this book. I don't remember which one it was, maybe Deep South Parties. And he comes in like I'm late. He's huffing and puffing, slams his stuff down. But there's about 6 or 8 of us in this boardroom. He's like, all right, what do you got? He's being rude, really. Where are you from? Let me say, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Yeah, he said, what's there to do in Hattiesburg, Mississippi? I said, well, as a matter of fact, about 2 blocks from my home, just a few months ago, I saw Itzhak Perlman play with our symphony orchestra. He said, oh. I said, yeah. Yo-Yo Ma actually was there the year before playing with our orchestra. And by the way, it was Itzhak Perlman's second time. The only university orchestra Placido Domingo has ever performed with is the orchestra that I go see about 2 blocks from my house. And I started reeling off all these kind of facts, and it just shut him up. And because that's what people think. They don't understand. They watch some TV show, Heat of the Night or whatever it is, and think we're all barefooted and sweaty. Yeah. We're sweaty.
I'm very sweaty.
Yeah, we're sweaty.
But I got shoes. Well, no, it's Andy Norell, best, pretty much undisputed best steel pan player of all time, has been here multiple times.
Sometimes we're guilty of not even knowing the stuff that's going on here. There's like something like 300 performances a year.
It's crazy.
On this campus. This campus is so much prettier than it was when I was a kid.
It's changed quite a lot.
So I graduated from here. My mom got her master's here. You went to school here, didn't you?
I went to school here. We just went.
Were you in the band?
No, I was never in the band.
Dude, how did you not?
Well, for me, it was more, I just wanted to separate myself. My dad's a big presence here, so I just wanted to be my own man, but it took me a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know, going to band rehearsal as a kid was like, oh, I'm going. I can't wait. And all the drummers were super cool, and they were drummers, so you felt cool. And I had like the most amazing childhood.
It's like a camera for the
camera. You can flip it to mirror if you want, but I'm trying to immerse myself in the tech side of it. So this is just ridiculous. It's like driving a car made of iPads.
Punch it a little bit.
Crazy, right?
He never went over the speed limit.
Yep, there's not a camera on the speedometer, so everything's cool. Restaurant philosophy, it's a competitive area, this place, with restaurants, and there's a lot of interest because of the show The Bear. I feel like you've lived that show probably a few times over, with all different concepts and people being in the restaurant business as long as you've been. What's your philosophy on food, restaurant, and hospitality?
You said it. The last thing you said, it's hospitality. That's what it is. You know, Maya Angelou said, people won't remember what you said or what you did. They will remember how you made them feel. And she was actually talking about something other than the restaurant business, probably something more important than the restaurant business. But it's all about hospitality and its experiences. And that's what we try to do at our restaurants, or create experiences, because it's beyond food. It's not just food, because, I mean, any chain restaurant at the next interstate exchange has food, but it's a complete, total experience. And when times are tight, you know, financially, people are concerned about what they're doing with their dining dollar or whatever. So you gotta be on it. We take that seriously, but I love it, man. It's like I don't know what I'd be doing. You know, I had dreams of other things, but it was until I got my first job in the restaurant business, it was like, oh, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm blessed in the way that, you know, I'm doing what I believe I was put on this planet to do, is feed people in, you know, different forms and fashions. So
isn't that a superpower? You know, think about it. Like, think about all the things you're good at. I always said the ultimate thing in a man's life is purpose, because it's a silver bullet. Yeah. You can say no to a lot of other just like superfluous things because, no, man, it has nothing to do with my purpose or my direction. So I don't have time or space for it. You know, no offense to anyone. That is like the ultimate superpower. I don't know if anyone's tailor-made for a job or a career like you are.
I don't know, man. I think you've hit your stride in doing this stuff. You're talented in what you do. That's the thing. It's part of it's passion. You got to have passion to want to get up and get motivated and do more than the normal person would do. But you also need to have a skill set, and you gotta combine passion with that skill set, and where those two come together, and I think they've come together for you in doing this. But man, you're a talented guy too, man. You cracked me. You were so high energy. You're like Mr. Positive. Jill and I were talking about that the other day, man. You're always laughing. You're always upbeat. You always want to be around somebody like that, that's just upbeat and positive. And I guess you have bad days. I've never seen it.
Well, that's very kind. Well, I had DJ Cujo on, and we talked about how he's super positive, and we're like, well, it wasn't always like that. And I think it takes sometimes a valley to really appreciate the peak.
Yeah.
And then that helps you climb the peak even higher.
Teddy Roosevelt had a good quote about that until you've been in the valley, you can't appreciate the mountaintop.
Oh, man,
it's a very crude rendering of that, of his very poetic quote, but I get that, man. And I've been there. I was at a point in my life at 20, I guess, maybe 20 or 21. I got evicted from a trailer park, man. It was a ratty ass trailer park too, man. So I would have been on the streets, homeless, living under a bridge, if not for my grandmother who took me in. So.
I appreciate what you've been able to accomplish, and the people you've included. Once again, very biased, but yeah, I tell people all the time, first person to ever holler at me, call me and say, hey, just be yourself. Everybody's got notes and go, hey, change this about yourself. Do that. First person that said, hey, just be yourself. That's plenty. It's like, man, that's pretty cool. So I appreciate that. And man, this has been a fun time.
I think we work well together.
Yeah.
It's very natural and easy and nothing really forced.
Well, let's keep doing it then. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Awesome.